Hey, ladies. Welcome back. So, yes, part one got cut off because your girl got a call from her boss and he had a lot to tell me. We have a lot going on within our company. Many of you may know that I stopped doing business plan writing and ended up moving towards a real estate company, a well established real estate company. I've known this gentleman for many, many years, probably a decade now, and he wanted somebody who would be able to help him open up a new division of his company, and that is me. So, we had a lot of different strategy sessions this week with different people learning how they're doing the business. Today, we had a big session with an attorney who's like the final linchpin in everything that we're doing. And he called me back because we had some things to go over. So, sorry about part one getting cut off, but you know what? I wanted to do this session for all of you ladies. I am going to put the StreamYard link into the chat in case brown skin girls or anybody else is able to come up. I'm hoping that brown skin girls is able to make it back. Don't forget to put your thumbs up in there for me. Give me a thumbs up and share the stream as well. Let's talk a little bit about this topic. We are seeing a lot in the news with regards to tech jobs, with regards to if we should get into tech, you know, oh my goodness, all the tech jobs are going away. What are we going to do? How are we going to make it? There are some people who are looking at all of the tech layoffs and are saying, I don't know if I want to get into tech now. Look at all the tech layoffs. I am here tonight to partially put your mind at ease. I've got information for you. I've got evidence for you that tech is not going anywhere. And if you are, looking to change jobs and get into technology, there's still a lot of opportunity for you out there. If you are looking to level up from like food service work or things like that into technology, and it's something that you want to do, I definitely suggest you consider getting into it. Am I in technology? No, but I know a lot of people who are in technology. I know a lot of Black women who are in tech sales, they're product managers, they're project managers. Brown Skin Girls came back. Hello.
Hi, hey everybody.
How are you? I am so sorry about earlier. My boss called and I had to take that call. Um,
Oh yeah, you're fine. I would have done the same thing.
yes, but he was like, I'm gonna call you back later. And I was like, yeah, maybe he will, but I don't know. So anyway, he did. He called me back. But I'm glad that you were able to come up because you also, done so much you're doing so much within your career. You do so much on your channel that I thought it would be great for us just to give women like a little encouragement with regards to what's happening in tech now. And some of the numbers I have to show the ladies, brown skin girls, actually, they may be surprised at how few people actually have lost their jobs in tech. It may seem like a lot of people, but when we look at the total number of people who are actually in tech, it's less than 1% of the tech force that have worked at these tech companies that have actually lost their jobs. Did you know that, brown skin girls?
I haven't been looking really at the numbers. I've been mainly paying attention to who's firing people. But
Hmm.
as far as in my space and other people, like people I talk to, we're all fine. But we don't work in big tech necessarily. We
Hmm.
work in, Google and things like that. I won't say that they're useless because these are big heavy hitters in tech, but
Hmm.
they're more desirable. They're more, you can post on social media, you work at Google and you'll get attention. Meanwhile, people like us, we make sure networks run, which your everyday life, we help to facilitate that. So it's
Yeah.
different from just, the Instagram tech versus we actually work in tech and actually make sure infrastructure works.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's my main talking point on it. But I haven't looked at the numbers. I have to do that. I'd love to see what you've been looking into so I can get on
Okay.
top of that.
Well, why don't we take a look at it now? And everybody, again, don't forget to give us a thumbs up as you all are coming in. So, I'm going to show you a couple of things. And because you mentioned the fact that Google and places like that have a lot of attention, I'm actually going to take a little bit more time tonight and show you all a video that I found that I think is really relevant to tonight's conversation. So, first, though, I'm going to show you some articles here. So this is the first article from Computer World saying that tech layoffs in 2023, this is a timeline with regards to the tech layoffs, because we're seeing a lot of stuff in the news with regards to the layoffs. So um, they're saying here, after a year in which technology companies announced massive layoffs, 2023 is looking no different. In fact, the year is starting off worse than 2022. I personally think a lot of the big companies have either announced their layoffs or already done them. We may have a few more stragglers, but I believe that a lot of the big tech layoffs have already happened or have already been announced. But this thing is saying here, and this is from a couple of days ago, this article, the problem, big tech companies like Amazon, Oracle, Microsoft, Salesforce, and Facebook went on a hiring binge during the pandemic when lockdowns sparked a tech buying spree to support remote work and an uptick in e commerce, and now they face revenue declines. It's not only tech giants who are conducting layoffs, smaller tech firms were also caught up in pandemic generated hypergrowth and are now suffering the consequences. So, one of the big things I think that a lot of people need to think about is why these tech layoffs are happening. They're happening because if you consider something like Zoom grew astronomically during the pandemic. But what happened? As soon as kids need to go back to school, people started going back to work. All of a sudden, people are not using Zoom as much, or they only have the free account instead of needing, so much bandwidth and things like that. Oh, also, another big thing that was happening within tech is that there were a lot of pet projects that were out there that were taking a lot of money and not making any money. One thing I could think of is Facebook and the metaverse. They spent, oh gosh, I can't remember how many billions of dollars on the metaverse, and they didn't get anywhere with it. A lot of, um, a lot of uh, stockholders now are demanding that these companies actually get back to making money, to making profit, and to leaving these pet projects, back there. Like, we can't do that during a pandemic. So that's one of the other reasons why some of these people are being let go of as well. Brown skin girls, do you know anything about that? Have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I completely agree with you. Not only was it the pet projects, but the boom of the pandemic. I think it was a lot of fear mongering going on during the pandemic. Now, don't get me wrong. The
Hmm.
last pandemic we had, a lot of I wasn't even thought of yet, so that's a very scary thing to happen. But a lot of people were over hiring, throwing money at people, thinking that that would be the future. But it was booming for a time. But like you said, once we get back to normal, and I think companies should have thought of that. Like once we go back to normal, and the pandemic is not pretty much over, but quailed enough to where we
Hmm.
could go back and start to return to society. Will this project or this app or will we have the same demand for people that we do now? And I think companies got excited and overzealous. And I think another thing about the oversaturation is tech talk, TikTok, but that section is called tech talk. A
Hmm.
lot of it was glamorized,
Hmm.
and people had, day in my life this, day in my life that, and they were barely doing any work. So
Yeah.
people thought they could just, come through the pipeline and everything would be roses and butterflies. But, although there are a lot of good perks in tech, there's also a lot of, hard work that needs to be done.
Hmm.
I get a little bit of perks, but I also do my job. But I love my job personally, but some people might be say to themselves, this is way too much work,
Mhm.
so that's another thing people should have thought about.
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, hey Erica, glad to have you here. Everybody, don't forget to thumbs up the video as you are coming in. Um, yeah, people do have to really think about that, but let's be honest as well. So look, I work from home. I work on a nice cozy desk. I'm in sales and, you know, project management and all of that. I'm not a bricklayer, I'm not a roofer, you know. So while we are working hard and I do work long hours, I'm sure you do as well. Like we also need to have some of these things in perspective as well. You know, we can't um there are some days when I only work a few hours, but then there are other days when it may be a 12-hour day for me. And that's one of the perks of having the types of jobs that we do. So, and I think a lot of employers were letting go of a lot of fat. In fact, that's one of the things that Google said. And I have another article about Google and how they made their decision. And a lot of it, they let go of a lot of unproductive people, is what the CEO said. Um, Now, do I think everybody, all 12,000 people were unproductive? No, but that was one of the things they said is they let go of a lot of unproductive people. Um, so let's continue on with this article here. Employers in the tech sector collectively cut more than 150,000 jobs in 2022. While high profile tech companies such as Amazon and Microsoft have already announced significant job cuts this year, the silver lining for tech pros is that many of the layoffs involve non technical staff. In fact, a lack of experienced tech talent means companies have been raising salaries for IT professionals, with consultancy Janko Associates predicting that raises for IT pros could jump 8% in 2023. So 8%, that's inflation. you know,
Yeah.
it's keeping up with inflation, but at least you're keeping up with inflation, right? Go ahead, brown skin girls. You have something else to say with regards to this?
I want to bring the unproductiveness and non-technical. When I first started my channel, I went on a kick about this. Like, if you're not technical, you won't last long.
Hmm.
Tech talk is a dream. I love the software development and scrum masters and things like that who are actually technical and doing work. I love that. But a
Hmm.
lot of people on Tech Talk came from HR and saw that their jobs were being cut or automated and then went into tech recruiting and then are
Hmm.
telling people, oh, you can get into tech in 30 days with no experience. Here's how I did it. Okay, but you're a recruiter. You don't code, you don't troubleshoot, you're not on help desk, you're not, running the cloud and
Right.
networking and making sure the infrastructure is working properly. So those are the first people to go, as always. And I warn people about this, but in the beginning, people don't listen, but it's funny that I'm right. It's not funny because people are losing their jobs, but it's I don't know what to say. I told you. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, even if people were product managers or tech sales or something like that, that was like essential to the product being put out, then that would even be better than just Now, I won't say just HR, but you're right. A lot of this technology is taking over jobs, and we have to adapt. That's one of the big things we talked about with ChatGPT as well, is the need for us um, to adapt and understand that certain jobs are going away, but new jobs are being, it's going to be replaced with new jobs, and we need to be 5 steps ahead of that instead of waiting until we're fired and trying to get our cert and get back in 3 months. If we're able to take the time now and say, hey, in 4 or 5 years, this train is coming. Let me pivot now while I have the chance and I have my pick of the litter. Then that's
Yeah,
the best thing for
exactly.
us to do. Brown skin girls, Stephanie is asking for you to put your link to your channel in the chat. She's saying she couldn't find. your channel. So
Okay.
I don't know if you're on your phone right now, if you're
Yeah,
the
if I do it, the phone will shut down. But I
okay.
promise you, Stephanie, I will get you my link. I will
Yeah.
get it to you.
Yeah. I know that you have a great channel. Mocha Mommy definitely talks about you and what you're doing.
Mommy
Lainey
is
is
an
in the
icon.
house. I'm sorry?
Oh, I was saying Mocha Mommy is an icon. I love her. She's the reason
Yes.
I'm here. So I love her so much.
She is wonderful. Lainey is in the house. She caught a live. Tech like all careers requires work no matter what TikTok says. Ain't that the truth? I think that a lot of people try to glamorize, what it takes in order to make it in not only tech, but in entrepreneurship, in being a landlord, in real estate investing, in, anything that you're doing. And one of the things, this is one of the reasons why my channel probably does not grow as quickly because I refuse to do this. I refuse to sugarcoat things for you, you know. Um, there are a lot of small landlords that got screwed during the pandemic as well. One day I'm going to actually do a session showing everybody like how the small landlord is getting, taken advantage of as well, and some of the things we need to do to protect ourselves. Tech, same thing, like Lainey is saying, you have to work. There is work involved in order to make sure that you keep your job and get promoted and get seen as somebody um, you know, who can move up the corporate ladder, which is ultimately what most of us want to be able to do. But let's talk about Microsoft here really quickly. So, Microsoft this week is telling some managers to embrace quote unquote good attrition using massive layoffs to push underperforming employees out the door quicker. So many of you know that Microsoft plans to lay off 10,000. They're saying, I thought they said 12,000 employees. This article is saying 10,000. But, ahead of layoffs, some managers were asked to identify employees for performance based exit. Previously, it took up to 6 months of performance coaching before a manager could exit an employee. Now they're just kicking them out. Okay. Some managers were asked to identify employees who, for exits, who would otherwise be put on performance coaching. This is according to HR. I don't think I had anything else marked in here. No, I didn't. I just wanted to show that because if people are not doing their work, if you're only doing the bare minimum, and I'm not saying like work like a slave, what I'm saying is do certain projects to get in front of your boss's boss. Um, some people are, not great at their jobs. Some people don't have soft skills, and the skills that they have are not like those super crucial skills where they're like, yeah, he's a jerk, but we really need him. So we can't really let him go. So we're just going to put him off in the corner somewhere and let him, do his code and leave him alone. Right. I do think that we as Black women need to make sure that um, we are seen as employees that are adding value to a company, and we are actually working on projects that our boss's boss can see, okay, Cherie has added value to this project and this company in such a way that we're going to create this list, but her name will never be on it. Um, I'll tell you one more story and then I'll let brown skin girls go. In 2008, 2009 was the last like recession. And I worked in corporate America at the time. And there were a lot of layoffs that happened at the company. My name was not on the list. In fact, there were two other people in my department, and they were going to let somebody else go, not me. I ended up giving my resignation because I decided to go work for my mother and her company at the time. And I had, paid off my debt. And, I was just ready to do the entrepreneurial thing at the time. But I was so valuable to that company that my name was like to the bottom of the list of who they were going to let go of during that time. And I think that that's what you want to be. And it was because the work that I was doing was seen by the C suite of that specific company. Not only seen by it, they were actually using that information in order to make strategic decisions for the company. So, brown skin girls, what are some of your thoughts with regards to underperforming employees in Microsoft?
Yeah, so I think TikTok, I don't hate TikTok because I post a lot of shorts that I love from TikTok, but in general, it's just ruined everything for a lot of people. And also another thing people don't want to bring up, you're working in tech, working from home on a computer. These people can see what you're doing and track what you're doing. The apps have algorithms and your manager's watching you even though they won't say it. So you can try to escape, but you're not getting away with anything. So you have to stay on top of things. And yeah, as far as the underperformance thing, I think that the day in my lives and things like that, it made it just easy to spot people out because a lot of people on TikTok, those are the people who got laid off from Google. That's a big story right now because the connection between tech influencers on Instagram and TikTok and the layoffs, a lot of those people got fired. Um, and that's crazy to me because it was said that it wasn't unproductivity, but now we're seeing that it is. So, my advice to people trying to do this is always stay on top of your credentials. Always stay at the top of your game. Don't, falter when you get in that position. Act as if you're not in that position. I would say keep getting those circs. Like me right now, I'm trying to get the trifecta. You have to have a minimum of A+ at my job, but I want to get the trifecta. So when the time comes and people pull me up when we're talking about performance and things like that, they can see that I'm hungry and I'm constantly evolving and getting new circs. I want to learn. I want to advance my career. I want to add value to the company. So that's the one piece of advice I can give. Always stay on top of your job and not only do that, but constantly pursue greater because that will show your company, okay, she's not just here for a job, she's not being unproductive. Not only is she striving when she's at work, but she's also, going home and studying and acquiring other certs and acquiring other degrees, other certificates. So just stay on top. Tech is a dynamic environment, it's marketed as you just sitting in front of a computer all day, but it's very dynamic. There's always a new hot app. It's always a new protocol. Circs expire every 3 years, so you're constantly gonna have to move, and that's my biggest piece of advice to everyone.
Yeah. And we, first of all, Lainey, shout out to Lainey for putting in Brown Skin Girls
Thank
channel.
you, Lainey. I appreciate you.
Yes. And we have Midwest Chick. Hello.
Hi, can you all hear me?
We definitely can,
Yes.
my dear. What do you
Okay,
have to say about this?
I it's so funny that I hopped on YouTube and saw this conversation because I work in
Mhm,
tech and I work from home
mhm.
and I just got done about an hour ago, finishing up some work for the weekend. But I cannot stress this enough. Like, do not listen to all of these articles saying that tech is not the place to be. Tech is the place to be. It changed my life. Okay, like to put this into context, we have all of these women talking about, leveling up and this and that. I was able to, my lifestyle, the way it changed when I got this job, I can't even explain it. Like, I'm so comfortable. I'm able to live in such a wonderful neighborhood. I work from home. Um, it, I mean, I pretty much, there's no micromanaging. And the thing is, the soft skills and what this woman is saying about the soft skills is so, you need the soft skills. Matter of fact, when I applied for this job, I almost didn't apply because I was like, well, I don't meet all the requirements. I'm still entry level in this field. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to apply anyway. And I applied and I got the job. And one of the things that stuck out to my boss was that the way that I interviewed, like I seemed really friendly and personable and I seemed like someone who would be fun to work with. And like that is so important in tech, like because a lot of people are quite standoffish and are quite their social skills are just a little bit. I mean, I guess I wouldn't say underdeveloped, but it's just they're just not very like friendly. They can be a little bit like more prone to isolation. So if you can just be an open person and show that you're willing to learn, people will invest in you. Like my boss pays for me to learn different things, pays to send me to conferences. She wants me to do well, and you have to have that attitude that you want to learn. And one thing that I keep seeing on TikTok, like brown skin girl was just talking about TikTok, that really is so off-putting, and I cannot stress enough how incorrect it is. Do not go to work and just don't talk to anyone and ignore everyone and stay to yourself. And like, I see Black women complain about this all the time. Why do I have to socialize at work? Why can't I just do my job and go home? That is the worst advice. Whoever's telling you all, like, people, that don't ever listen to those people ever. Like, that is, like, if you're not the type of person that can be comfortable talking to people at work, I mean, I just think that's weird in general, personally. Like, what is so
And
strange about talking to people at work?
we as Black women are naturally social
Yeah,
and talkative. Now, I use the mantra, you can be friendly without being friends.
absolutely.
And that is all people want. There are general topics that you're able to talk about outside of the weather and outside of politics and religion. Like, hey, did you go to the music festival this weekend? Or did you see the Cowboys play, or whomever the sports team is in your local area? Or, you know, little things about your kids going to ballet and things like that, where people can feel like they have a connection with you without them being all in your business, and I've often wondered about that, is some Black women being fearful of that. I guess maybe, when I was growing up, I saw my mother and grandmother kind of navigate that professionally, where people didn't really know their business, but they were seen as some of the most nice, gracious people in the neighborhood and in the professional environment. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a fine line. Like, it's okay to speak to your colleagues and your coworkers. It's fine. Like, no one is, like, no one is, it's I just don't, this attitude that like everyone is trying to find something on you to use against you and they're out to get you. It's just really not like, a lot of it I've realized is social anxiety. I came to realize a lot of that is imposter syndrome in the workplace. A lot of that is feeling
Mhm.
like they don't belong. But don't make yourself small. People hire, the reason why they want diversity in tech is because they're hiring you for you. They want to see who you are. That's why you're there. They want your
Mhm.
perspective. They want, Black women are so smart and knowledgeable about social media and what's hip and what's trending. People will
Mhm.
pay big money for the knowledge that Black women have.
Yeah,
And I can't stress this enough. If you then come into the workplace and you're super quiet and don't talk, that is puts you at such a disadvantage, because people want to know, they want to make things sound authentic. They want to know, like, a lot of people just aren't, they're just not as hip, I guess to
Mhm.
say. Like, Black women have something very special. We have something very special about us, and it's worth a lot. It's worth money. And
Yeah.
I want to see more of us there. And it's okay if you don't know everything. They say, like, men apply to jobs even if they don't have like half of the qualifications, and women
They
feel like they
do.
have to have every single one. That is not true.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, I think that we can learn certain things from the men, and that's one of them. Like, apply, apply, apply. And you
Yeah.
never know who's going to call you back. And then I always feel like once I get into an interview, I'm pretty good. It's just getting past the threshold of the applicant tracking software, that's the HR software, and getting in front of the person. And actually, I I haven't really had to interview in a long time, because I've built such a great network. So I'm going to give you all the 5 things that I think you should consider having. And I'm going to say hello to God Bless, first of all. Welcome back, Computer and Coin, saying agreed, relationships matter at work. And then Lainey is saying water cooler talk is definitely a must. Antisocial people are usually the first to go. Unless they have a super, super, super special skill that very, very few people in the world have. Yeah, you it's best for us to be social, and sociable. I have 5 things, though, that I think that people should consider having, and this is based on me listening to a lot of people in the tech industry. The first is your certs, and you need to, based on what career path you want to have, there are going to be different certs that you need. So I'm not the cert whisperer at all, but you can talk to other people within the industry that you want to pursue in order to figure out what certs that you need, and actually taking a page out of Brown Skin Girl's book and shutting off all social media. Go, I've heard people say, I'm going dark mode for 3 months and I'm getting these certs done, or, whatever it is that you have to do. Number two is, some of you may need to ultimately get your degrees, bachelor degrees, sometimes master degrees, depending on the career path that you're looking to have. Ericka Williams has been interviewing her Tech Tuesday people, and one of the people is Dr. Dix, and he's talking about the fact that um, there will come a time where your certs are not going to be enough, where you're going to need a degree in order to get in and in order to move up the corporate ladder. So just consider that. Number three, your networks. Your network is your net worth. A lot of the people who were let go at one tech company and hired immediately at another tech company was because they knew people. They had a network. I cannot suggest enough that you get a network of people who, work at all sorts of companies, not just Black women, but men, women, white, Black, Asian, whatever. Make friends with everybody, because you never know who's going to get you into your next opportunity. So that's number three. Number four is interview skills. Another person that Ericka interviewed, whom I've spoken with him before in the past, is Sub-Zero, and he talks about the fact that in interviews there will be technical questions that people ask, as well as other questions to make sure that you're social and you're going to be a good cultural fit. So having those really good interview skills, knowing what to say, how to, what to wear, the things you should and should not do during an interview. Interview etiquette is very important. And then number five is the soft skills, which we've spoken about a lot this evening, is very important as well. I want to show you a couple of other things. So I Googled just really quickly how many tech employees were laid off from 2022 to now. And this is from the New York Times as of 2 days ago. They're saying 216,000 tech employees. And you may have a heart attack, but did you know that there are 12.2 million tech workers as of 2020? 12.2 million, which means that we're looking at 1% of the tech workforce that was laid off. And even more than that, I don't know what I did with that article, but even more than that, a lot of the people who were laid off in tech were rehired at other companies. They were especially rehired at companies that are not tech companies, not Google, not Facebook, places like that, but other companies like healthcare companies and insurance companies and, regular companies that needed tech people. A lot of these people that were laid off were able to go and work for these other companies practically immediately. So I'll open it up to brown skin girls and Midwest chick. Do you all know anything about this? Do you have anything to add with regards to, um, in my opinion, how few people, you know, in aggregate are actually being laid off?
Yeah. So one of the big, I'll just say a couple things and then I'll have to head out. And I don't want to hog the entire live stream or anything. But one thing I know from my experience is there's more than the bigger name companies. There's more than like Facebook and Google, like you're saying, right? Like there's different industries. I think the key is to find what industry you want to work in, right? So people at the bigger companies like Microsoft and Google, because they have so many people and they tend to overhire, people from places like that will be the first to get cut. People who work for smaller companies, they're very particular about who they hire, and they purposely keep the number of employees they have small, so that when things like this happen, you don't have to worry about anything because They're very bare bones to begin with, and they only hire like as much as they need to. So in my experience, because I work for a smaller company in the private sector, I don't have to worry about that. And also it's better, it can sometimes be better to work for like a smaller company because you get that more like hands-on training. People get to know you more. You're able to stand out more. Um, so yeah, that's just been my experience. And then one more thing I want to say before I go is, in terms of building a network, it's really important. Sometimes like you'll end up having to do calls with different vendors, right? Like sometimes you'll have to reach out to someone at Google, or you'll have to reach out to someone at Spotify, to ask some questions from them, ask them some questions about a certain project you're working on. When you find yourself talking to these same representatives over and over, during the length of a project, add them on LinkedIn. That's a great way to have a connection. So if you ever get laid off, or if you ever want to work in a different sector, hey, you were just spending 6, 7 months talking to this one person from this place, and they know of you, and they know how you act. They've spoken to you before. So that's just a good tip.
That's a great tip. Thank you so much. And I only have one more article, Midwest Chick. So if you want to stay for that one, I feel it's a pretty good one. So
I actually
um,
have I
you
actually
have to
have to
go.
go before
There's
this
no
place closes.
problem.
But thank you so
Thank
much.
No,
you.
Y'all
thank
so
you.
lovely,
Thank you so
all
much
of
for
you.
coming up and for your advice.
Of course. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Just to add to that,
Mhm.
I agree with her. There's more than a FANG, you know. There's a lot of tech jobs that aren't even filled yet, you know. I'm not worried. I'm worried about, Google, because those are people who lost their jobs, but I'll be scared when John, who's the network admin, or
Oh, you went out.
hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear
People
you.
love to call when you're doing something. I'll just put that out there. But
That's me and my boss, right?
but yeah, I'll be scared when John, the network admin, or Stacy, the cloud computer, gets fired. That's when I'll be like, whoa, what do I do now? But yeah,
Yeah.
Google is, they things happen like that, and those people won't hurt for a job, especially if they've been there for a while. I looked into their severance package. Oh, it's amazing. These
They've
people,
been good severance packages. Yeah.
yeah, people will be good for at least a year or two from
Yeah.
Google. So these
Yeah.
people aren't hurting.
No.
Don't let this scare you. In fact, that should give you even more incentive to get in, because if you're laid off, you kind of have a cushion depending on your company. So
Yeah.
y'all keep getting these sex and these degrees. Come join us in tech. It's really fun here. You'll love it here.
Yeah, the only people I don't think are gonna get their severance pay is the Twitter people, but they should have seen that coming a mile away. Like, the minute Elon Musk said that he was gonna buy Twitter, if I were a Twitter employee, I would have been I would have been looking for the next thing.
Resume generating event.
Yes. I would have gotten out early, like, y'all have no idea, but that's because I don't know Elon. I don't follow him like that, but I know enough to know that what he was talking about wasn't going to work. But we've got one more article to show, and then I'll let everybody go for the evening. So don't forget to like the video, ladies, as well. Like the video. So I saw this and I thought this is a great final word for the evening. This is Jeff Bezos's partner. It's not about Jeff or about the partner. It says here, she talked about being rejected as a flight attendant because of her weight and becoming a pilot instead. This hit me because it is about being told no for one thing and being able to pivot into something else. She was told no for being a flight attendant because of a perceived flaw. Well, I don't know why her weight was a flaw because I mean, think I don't this doesn't look like a woman who has a weight problem, but okay, maybe it was a
Yeah.
specific airline. I don't know. Like, but the fact that she said, okay, you don't want to have me as a flight attendant, I'm gonna be a pilot instead. And within tech, the first thing that you try to do may not work completely. The first, probably more so, the first company you try to get into may reject you, but keep trying, keep going because you could pivot your way up. She pivoted her way up. Now, I don't know if Jeff Bezos is a flex or not, but she pivoted her way up to Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
So you could pivot your way up to, the CEO of some major international company, just from a no. So brown skin girls.
Yeah, I agree with you. I totally do. And also that no might it might be a door being blocked for you because there's something else for you.
Yeah,
I tell my story all the time. I was in customer service and got laid off, and I had given up on my tech dream early because the degree, the panoramic happened. I don't know if you can still say that word without
I don't
getting
know.
crazy, but
We're
I'll
not
say
monetized on this
panoramic.
channel, so it's okay.
Okay. So yeah, when that happened, and I had to drop out of school and things like that, and then I got laid off from my customer service job. I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do? But then that opportunity came from my tech school recruiter, and I had always wanted to be in tech, and I'm like, okay, this is my window to get in. And here I am, I'm not making six figures. I'm not on TikTok working for Google, but I'm in a much better position in life and I love what I do, and it's only up from here. So that no could lead to a yes that's meant for you in the first place. So don't give up,
Yeah.
ladies.
Yeah. I mean, and the fact that you're so young as well, you have your whole life ahead of you and you can do great things. You know, the sky is the limit as long as you are focused. And like I said, just remembering these five things, ladies. Number one, your certs, figuring out what certs you need and actually, hunkering down and getting them. Number two, degrees. Many of you are going to need degrees over time because the rich are doing things within not only the country but the world in order to cause a greater division. And
Yes.
there are going to be companies that say because you don't have a degree, we can't hire you. They're lowering the standards now, but as soon as they want to raise them, they're going to raise them again. So that's number two. Number three, your networks. It's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. You need to have a good, I would say 30 to 40 people that if you lost your job today, you could be on speed dial, like people who can get you in someplace else with just a, hey, I know brown skin girl, she's all that. We need to bring her in for an interview. In fact, the better thing is let's go poach brown skin girl from where she is right now.
Yes.
You know, like you want that kind of network. I know a woman who is so networked up that she has recruiters and friends calling her practically every week trying to steal her from like the jobs that she's at. She just switched to another job and she was able to move to South Carolina paying hardly nothing for housing and all of that. And she's making a huge check.
That's a good
That's number
deal.
three. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying that's a good deal. She makes all that money and keeping her living low. She's living great. She's
Mhm.
in a good position.
She's in a very good position. Number four, your interview skills. Interview skills is your, technical knowledge as well as your ability to just, vibe with the person whom you are being interviewed by. And then number five, of course, is the soft skills. So anti-ableism is in the house saying, working on my MS degree. Good for you. Yes. And network indeed. I almost forgot about that. Yet look, you're there. We did the session a couple of months ago where we talked about monkey branching. And the guy who was being interviewed said that your network and the ability to get the opportunity oftentimes is more important than your hard skills. Because if you can get in and figure it out once you're in there, like you have a better chance of making it in life. So um I know as Black people, especially as Black women, we're taught, oh, just focus on the technical skills. My parents, they did a good job raising me, but my parents did not push enough. Cherie, you should go and be a Delta. I wish they had. I wish they had pushed me like, no, no, no. You need to go and you need to be a part of the sorority and you need to do these social things when you're in college as well. Because if I were a Delta today, my network would be bigger than it is. If anybody knows about the deltas and how powerful they are. And my grandmother was a Delta. I don't know why she was not pushing me in that direction.
Yeah, and you're a legacy, so it would have been really easy. My sister just joined a sorority. The
Yeah.
cheer is annoying, but I'm happy for her.
It's annoying, but think about it. Like, even Kamala Harris, and I'm not a Kamala Harris fan at all, but part of the push she got to get her to the vice presidency was that
Yeah.
AKA,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I look like a Delta. So I would have been in like Flynn with those
Yeah.
ladies, and I know there's some people who say, oh, you can still do it. I'm like, yeah, but there's something about doing it in college or when
Yeah,
you're
while you're
young that
young,
makes a
building the
difference. Yeah,
relationships.
yeah. But anti-ableism is saying network equals net worth. It is the truth. It is the truth. They will hook you up with jobs. They'll hook you up with investment opportunities. They will hook you up with potential spouses if that's the route you're going. You want to get married. Um, your network, like I can, there's this Filipino man that I know who is, kind of a wealthy entrepreneur. Every time I see him, he's like, "You want me to get you a husband?" Like every time, I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
thank you." but yeah, like and like my Filipino friend, he's like an American. He's not trying to send me off to the Philippines to be a passport girl. Like he's like, no,
Yeah.
I can find you somebody down the street if you
Yeah.
want. He's a pretend matchmaker, but yeah, anti-ableism is saying LinkedIn is number one, definitely. And I started a few months ago seeing a lot of trash on LinkedIn. Like I started seeing people posting about Black men and Black women issues on LinkedIn. That is
I
stopped. Go
I
ahead,
have a
Charles.
video coming on that because I think that was a purposeful glitch in the system. They were trying to ruin LinkedIn, but luckily she got it together.
I think
But
that LinkedIn went and scrubbed a lot of that stuff out because I
mhm,
I was so disgusted that I didn't get on LinkedIn for about a month. And I was hard into LinkedIn. I wasn't
mhm.
on there all the time, but I was so disgusted with what was coming up in my feed that I got off LinkedIn, and then I've been on probably for the past 3 weeks, and it's cleaned up.
Yeah, I'm
So
glad they got it together because a lot
yeah.
of that gender war policy, I was like,
What
no,
are y'all
LinkedIn was our
doing?
last hope, and y'all took it away.
Gosh. I'm like,
Yeah.
do y'all not know that LinkedIn is like the professional network? What are you all
Mhm.
doing?
And these were all accomplished people. I'll give it to them. These were accomplished people, upper 10% people as far as income and network.
Yeah,
You're showing your whole network that you're involved in this. Okay, that's good. I hope that
it was
you're
awful.
going to be a LinkedIn guru for dating. No.
And I'm sure the people were trying to get into other people's LinkedIn. Oh, she's the nurse. Let me let me DM her in
Yeah.
LinkedIn. It was just wild, wild west. But they've cleaned that up. So yes, now LinkedIn again is number one.
Mhm.
It's not appropriate content for link. Yeah, absolutely. It's not appropriate content. Yeah, the gender war was on LinkedIn. God bless. I saw it myself. I'm like, what the heck is happening here? Yeah, anti-ableism, they scrubbed it off. I think they got in there and they
They were like,
and you know
oh
what? I
no.
will say, I know a woman who was very high up in LinkedIn, the sales department. LinkedIn actually does have great diversity, and there are Black women that work on the inside of LinkedIn. It wouldn't surprise me if those Black women went and said, "No, no, we're gonna fix this," because
Yeah.
at least I know her, and she was high up in LinkedIn, and they were recruiting more Black women into the sales department of LinkedIn. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think that we went in there and were like, "Oh no, we
Mhm.
can't have this," and we went and talked to the right people and got that straightened out.
Yeah.
Yeah, child, yes.
That was ridiculous. I won't
Yes.
harp for I'll rant about that. So let's just
Yeah,
I'll
so
go
so
for it.
you go to your channel, and I will definitely support you on that because, even thinking about politics and things like that, On LinkedIn, I would keep that stuff out unless there's a specific reason that you're saying it. I mean, I'm conservative, but I would never put, "Oh, I'm pro Biden," or, "Oh, I'm pro Trump," or anything like that on there. I just would share, like, my conservative values about God and family, you know? Um,
Yeah. And
um
that will alienate you because, especially right now in this climate, if
mhm,
people know you're alienating half of the people who can
yeah,
give you an opportunity, it's best to just keep that at the polls, keep that
mhm,
at the dinner table when
mhm.
you're, debating with family, friends, but don't bring it to LinkedIn, please.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
don't
our
bring it
only
to
safe
LinkedIn.
space. We can all come together and be happy. Don't take it away, please.
Yeah, yeah, be apolitical in that platform, absolutely. I talk about God because I won't hide my Christianity. But I
Period.
don't talk about it in an offensive way. I'm just like, I believe in God, and if
Hmm.
you believe in Allah, or you don't believe in anything, that's fine.
Yeah.
Right. And then I believe in family. And I feel like most Americans do. I feel like we have more in common than the media and the powers that be are trying to divide us. But yeah.
Hmm.
Um, that LinkedIn is a great place to be. Definitely get your profiles together on LinkedIn. Make sure you have the right keywords. A lot of recruiters will only look at your headline and nothing else. So make sure that headline says exactly what you do, not just associate, but like A plus plus certified, blah, blah, blah. Like, because they'll read that and they're like, oh, yeah, need to talk to her, you know?
Yeah, and the algorithms, they'll put you higher up in searches if you're
Hmm.
playing it right, depending on what you're doing, tech or
Yep.
non-tech. Make sure it's on point.
Hmm. Yep. Yep. So with that, that is the end of our Friday. You all have me for 3 days in a row. Gonna come back tomorrow night and Sunday night to give you ladies more information. Brown skin girls?
I want to say first of all, thank you,
Hmm.
Sherry. I hope I said that right.
Yeah,
After I get off of work, I slur my words and I can't speak, so I'm
it's
sorry, but
okay.
yeah, I just want to thank you for opening up your platform to me. Thank you all for, supporting me. The influx of support has been amazing. And I just want to encourage you once again, don't let the layoffs scare you. It's okay. Keep pursuing your dreams. If it's tech, go for it. If it's something else, go for it. Always stay on top of things because, like Sherry said, the powers that be are trying to make it to where economic elevation is harder and harder to the point where you can't do it anymore. This is the
Yeah,
perfect time in America right now to go ahead and pick what you want to do and elevate as high as you can and take all of that money and do something with it to where you and your family are positioned to do great things and be okay no matter what happens. So that's my encouragement to you all. Please subscribe to my channel. I would love that if you would do that. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you so much
yeah.
again.
Thank you. And thank you for coming back too. I really wanted to have you on here. So I'm glad that you were able to jump in.
I'm
I'm
happy
going
I
to,
was able to make it.
yes. All right. I'm going to give everybody your Friday back and I will see you all tomorrow if you're able to attend.
All
Take
right.
care,
Bye
ladies.
bye.
Bye.